So the White House put out a climate and energy report on the implications of crypto assets. So of course, you already know what we saw. Proof of work uses too much energy. This is bad for the environment. The environmentalist narrative has come back. And it's really interesting to me because I felt like this report was really skewed. So it said that proof of work basically uses more energy than proof of stake. And guess who uses proof of stake? Ethereum. So again, it's weird because they're both using large amounts of energy. One is not better than the other if they're both using large amounts of electricity. Just because one uses less than the other does not make it better in the long term. It's just delaying the inevitable. So, and it was also strange because the article also highlighted essentially backed digital currencies, which we all know as CBDCs. So, proof of work's bad, but CBDCs are good. How, Jan? How? They're all using a lot of energy, right? So what I did see in that article was that Bitcoin miners can take methane runoff to generate electricity for Bitcoin mining. So if you don't know what methane runoff is, I'm going to read from the article and clarify. Methane is produced during the drilling of natural gas, agriculture, oils, wells, sewage treatment, and landfills. So basically, in a nutshell, Bitcoin miners can potentially use the methane produced from the runoff from drilling and convert it into electrical energy to mine Bitcoin, which is awesome. But this isn't new information. Bitcoin miners have been using renewable energy to mine Bitcoin. In North America, I think it's about 75% of Bitcoin is mined with renewable energy, which I did not see in that article. So what I would want to see is research centers, corporations who are using Bitcoin miners come out and say, hey, this is how much renewable energy we're using. This is how it's actually happening. That's what we need to see. Because when the White House puts out something, it's credible because it's the White House. But again, we need to fight this with more information. So there's options and people can reference, well, they said this, but this company that actually uses it said this. So there's a gap there. So again, we're going to see how that plays out. And proof of stake is getting some attention. So the merge happened. So the merge is basically Ethereum moving from proof of work to proof of stake, which really cements that there's a clear difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum, because Bitcoin is decentralized. The process of mining Bitcoin makes it so people everywhere, anyone has to put in work to get the result. But for Ethereum proof of stake, the more Ethereum you own, the easier it is for you to be a validator. And that's a problem because that means that the power is within a group of people, like our fiat system, so like the US dollar. So look at us today, right? The US government has printed about 40% of the circulating supply of US dollars within the last 2 to 3 years because of COVID. And now we're seeing inflation and probably hyperinflation. Recession fears are looming. Every day it's getting worse. Like, look at the price of eggs, right? Before the pandemic, I would say a carton of eggs was like 88 cents. Post-pandemic, it's like $5. So again, we're just seeing a massive difference. And I just want to see more conversations happening about this because I've seen the memes. I know you guys have seen the memes too. Like, show me the difference between the fiat system and Ethereum. And there's like no difference. But there is a clear difference, guys. So Ethereum is the smart contract blockchain, right? Bitcoin is the money blockchain. It's hard money. Ethereum is the smart contract blockchain for NFTs. And you can't take that away from Ethereum because Ethereum is worth at least, if not more, way more than $60 billion between the exchanges, the NFT marketplaces, the lending platforms, and all the other applications. It has a huge market share that's not going anywhere. People are building on Ethereum every day. They should be building on Bitcoin. That's a different story. That's a different story. But again, we're seeing what's going on here. So let's talk about New York Fashion Week, aka New York NFT Fashion Week. So we have Stacks community members like Louis Nakamoto, who's a co-founder of Ryder, and Grace Ning, who is lead at Crash Punks. She's the artist behind the Crash Punk art, and she's the lead for the project. They were at NFT Fashion Week, and they were wearing merch. Grace was wearing her merch for Crash Punks. And of course, we saw Lewis chatting it up with Gary V. Ryder and Gary V collab coming soon. I hope so. That is really cool. So again, we're seeing a mainstream merge between NFTs, Bitcoin, and the world. And it's only going to get more and more serious. So I'm super excited. Hopefully we see a Ryder x Gary V collab. That would be really cool. And let's talk about photography and music NFT drops on stacks secured by Bitcoin. So of all nations media, Levi, I always say Levi, it's Levi. He's working in Iceland on his next photography collection. And the sneak peeks are freaking amazing. Between the volcanoes, the lakes, the natural essence of Iceland, he's capturing it all in his vision, and it's amazing. So if you haven't seen it, keep an eye out because these drops are awesome. Also, we have Longstreet. So he actually released a new NFT song called The Girl from Stacks, and it's basically a smooth jazz song, and it's really amazing. And I think right now we're seeing a huge pull to music NFTs. There hasn't been a music NFT bull run, and I think this instance is just one example, but I definitely see music NFTs becoming a huge thing. 300 the artist, he released a music soundtrack called God Did. It's basically an acapella remix, and his music art is amazing. Not only that, he's actually worked with Longstreet to put out music on stacks secured by Bitcoin. So these artists are not stopping. Like, the bear market is here, people are still building, recession's coming, people are still building, people are still keeping up what they've been working on. So I think that in itself is a huge deal, and it's awesome. Like, we're only going to see more. So Gary Gensler, right? Chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, aka the SEC, stifling innovation, he is coming for Ethereum. Now, I think at this point, this is a game of chess. Bitcoin is the queen, and to capture the queen, you gotta get the pawns, you gotta get rid of the nook, the knights, all of them. You come for Hex, you come for Cardano, you come for Polkadot, you come for Ethereum, right? And the queen is the only one left, and then it's easier to take because there's nothing really in the way of getting to the queen. The narratives keep changing. It changes from this makes it a security because the Howey test says that, and this. That's interesting because it honestly sounds like Winston Churchill. He has a famous quote. I'm not going to quote him specifically. I'm going to kind of quote him. They came for so-and-so. I was not that person, so I did not care. I didn't do anything. And then when they came for me, nobody was there. I would love to see how in the world the SEC comes for Ethereum successfully. It can't happen. It's not going to happen because there's too many builders. Like we said, Ethereum has a $60 billion evaluation, if not more. I think that's bearish. I think Ethereum's worth way more. But I don't think Gary Gensler can come for Ethereum the way he thinks he is. Between the builders, the DeFi apps, the smart contracts, the NFTs, I don't see that coming. I don't think he's going to have an easy time, nor should he, because the Tornado Cash, the SEC coming for Ethereum, it's just one thing after another. The war is beginning. Like Tornado Cash, you can't arrest a developer because they coded something you don't want to exist. It's speech. It's literally a language, guys. It's literally called a language. So it's not going to end well. I think there's going to be a lot of fighting going on within 2022 to 2023. It's going to get real feisty real fast. So I'm interested to see what happens. I don't think if Gary comes for Ethereum, it's going to be well received at all. There's going to be a lot of negative press against the SEC, and it's going to be a lot of heat under his chair. So we'll see what happens. So if you don't know, I put out newsletters on a bi-weekly basis, but honestly, we'll have some weekly drops too. So Jrny's putting out more information on Web3 and Bitcoin news. So if you want to stay in tune with Stacks, Bitcoin, and Lightning Network, check out my free newsletter, and it's in the link in the description. Check that out, and check out the Jrny Discord. So we're going to have some really fun times coming up in the month of October between like a mini Halloween party, some memes, and some giveaways. check out the Jrny Discord. This was an interesting week, and next week's gonna be just as interesting. Stay tuned, guys, and we'll have more Web3 and Bitcoin news coming soon. Bye.